Hey YouTube, it's Max. I just got back from vacation yesterday. Julie and I had really good sushi last night. Feeling pretty good, feeling refreshed. It's Memorial Day weekend, so I'll be going back to the office on Tuesday. This was a great week. No complaints. I wanted to, after not really making a video for a while, do something a bit about Harry Potter. Um, And really, I guess what I want this to be, this isn't really like a critique of Harry Potter. This isn't really like me saying why I love Harry Potter. This is just sort of my experience with Harry Potter. I was watching a video this morning, less than an hour ago, and I was like, you know what? I was going to make some videos about something else, and maybe I will because I have all this free time today because it's Saturday and so maybe I'll make those videos too, but for this I really just wanted to do like one of these vlog things where I talked about Harry Potter. My opinions may change over the years, but this is more just about what I've experienced with Harry Potter up until now. So without further ado, this is, I guess, my story with my relationship with Harry Potter. Um, so growing up, I was late to the party. I didn't really read the books right away. It really wasn't even that something I knew that much about until about high school. I watched the movies growing up, but they were out of order. My parents didn't really get Harry Potter that much. I didn't really get Harry Potter that much. I think I didn't even see the fourth one. I just completely, I think I saw the first one, maybe the second one, and then after that, it was just all out of order. I think I might have fallen asleep during some of them. I really wasn't even like a Harry Potter fan at all. Um, and this wasn't until high school. High school is when I read the first four Harry Potter books, and this was pretty huge because I am someone who doesn't really like to read. Um, in high school, especially in middle school and stuff, I would be given the books to read, and I would hate reading them. I would use Spark Notes all the time and do whatever I could to just not read the books. Um, but for some reason in high school, I read the books not even because I had to. I just decided to read them over the summer. I don't know why. And I read the first four, stopped at the fifth. I didn't really like the fifth, and it just kind of hit me the wrong way, so I stopped reading then. But the first four I loved, but it really wasn't even like I wouldn't even consider myself a Harry Potter fan after reading the first four books. What really made me become a fan of Harry Potter was the musical. And this was on YouTube. It was, I think it was a University of Michigan production by Star Kid. And the audio quality isn't great, but I think that when I saw that musical, it was something about like, um, I don't even know. I'm not even like a huge musical person, but just seeing the cast members kind of interacting, and I felt like that was the essence of Harry Potter. Like these kids in school just playing the roles of the characters and just kind of having a good time. And it was pretty comedic, um, lighthearted, and I think that's really what I loved about Harry Potter. I love the things. I love the musical so much that I actually bought the merchandise, and I didn't even have like a job, so I would save up like money for this stuff. Um, it was a red. It was a Red Vines T-shirt because in the musical, Ron had this running bit where he would always eat red vines, and then the headband that Ron would wear the Star Kid headband. And yeah, so I think, I would watch all their like behind the scenes footage. And I think that's also an inspiration of this kind of YouTube content. Like I really just like that low content YouTube from back in the day. Um, just it not like it was low quality but high um low quality but like high like yeah, almost want to say high quality, low quality but high quality, low visual and audio quality but high kind of like emotional quality. Um, So that was when I really started to get into Harry Potter through the musical. And this whole experience of Harry Potter was like my gateway drug to role playing and world building. With role playing, there was this kind of cringe thing you could do back in like early Facebook. There were like these role playing things you would like meet up with people. I don't even really know how it works. I didn't really do it for that long, but I just remember finding these like chat rooms of Harry Potter like fan fiction writers, and I wasn't really a fan fiction writer. I was just sort of I think it was like a time where I just wanted more Harry Potter, but I didn't want to read the fifth book, you know. So I would just like Google all the lore and all the stuff, and it would go in at one year out the other, just whatever I could get my hands on. And there was this role playing group. I don't remember any of the people's real names. I don't think we even told each other our real names because it was the internet and we stranger danger and stuff. But I played as Hermione's dad, Papa Granger, and it was funny because he was just this character you see like one. I think there's two scenes with him in the movies, and they're two different actors, I believe. And so it's just a free, like my two pictures on Facebook are just those two screenshots of Papa Granger. And it's like this character that no one else really wanted to be. And so I felt cool for that because I could go into any chat room and I wouldn't have to argue with anyone, be like, oh, I'm Harry or I'm Ron or whoever. It's just, I'm Papa Granger. And I was not very good at role playing probably, but I think people like the meme, so they kept me around. And then I kind of grew tired of it and stopped showing up, but it was a fun like couple weeks of my life or something. So that was like my introduction to like role playing ever. Like I never did role playing for anything else, I don't think, up until that. And then with world building, I don't think I was so I've done like character creation. Maybe I'll make a video of that. Like I was really into creating hockey players as world building, but this was like my gateway into like fantasy world building, which I think like is like a whole different creature. Because fantasy building, you create your own like ecosystems of settlements and politics and all that stuff. I actually want to make a video about the infrastructure, like my thought process on infrastructure in world building. But that's another time. In this one, really just the magic school. I feel like is the world building in Harry Potter. I don't really care that much about Gringotts or Diagon Alley or Hogsmeade. I don't think that they really have a logical sense to them. Um, in like there's some emotional sense to like Diagon Alley is like this like kind of thing, but I what I one of the things about Harry Potter that I'm not really too into is how it takes place in, like parallel to our world. I feel like there's just so much room for like uh error and plot holes in the whole um I guess wizards living secretly among us thing. That part doesn't really like butter my bread, if you will. But definitely the school aspect of Harry Potter was something that I was really into, and I created my own magic school that I called the Manaheim Academy. There's four houses. The Azure Bears, the Crimson Tigers, the Golden Eagles, and the Verdant Deer. Maybe I'll talk more about that. I actually kind of the other day was touching up on my personality quiz for it, which I kind of base off of certain personality quizzes and whatever. Maybe I'll get into that later, but I really like that idea of a magic school with this personality quiz. I think the personality quiz is a great hook for that kind of immersion. You can kind of fit yourself in there. I don't necessarily agree with the four houses that are chosen in Harry Potter, but I really like that concept as like something to include in a world. When I was talking earlier, the hockey player kind of characters I made, I kind of reskinned them to be students at the school, created this whole cast of professors. I would look up like Oxford, kind of like the history of Oxford, and sort of like take things from that, and then like take experiences from my own, like kind of all the different curriculums at the college that I attended, and sort of just like create this real. I really like this idea of a realistic kind of magic school that had like multiple like teachers on staff for different subjects under different like what I really liked, and this is also kind of besides the point of Harry Potter, but while we're kind of on the topic of a magic school, there was this book that recently came out in Dungeons and Dragons. I think it's like the Styxhaven Academy, and they have five magic schools, and it's based off the five things of math, science, communication, arts, and history, I believe, if I didn't say. Pretty much the five core things like that. And they kind of incorporate magic into that kind of system. And I really like that sort of thing for, like, I'm more on board with that. And also the idea of, like, what is the purpose of the school? Why do they need to learn magic? I'm really into those, like, deep dive logical things with magic schools. But this, back to my point, this whole reading Harry Potter really jump started that passion for me. And I don't think that Harry Potter has great logical world building. I think it's pretty shallow actually, but how it's kind of communicated, I think it has great emotional world building. Really gets you to immerse yourself in the world. And I think that when you're trying to read a story, having that emotional connection is more important than the logical connection. And so I think that that's something that Harry Potter is really good at. The Harry Potter as a series. Um, and this is probably, I think I've talked about it. It's just that's my favorite part about Harry Potter. Just that idea of a fictional world that you can escape into. I could, know exactly who I'm supposed to be with the Sorting Hat. There's like something comforting about that. It's like, oh, when I take, I'm a Ravenclaw, so it's like, oh, you're a Ravenclaw. You meet these other Ravenclaws, you'll make friends, and this was something that I was in a bad spot when I first came into Harry Potter in high school, so um, just these ideas and concepts really helped me overcome these times in my life. I would not consider myself a scholar on literary techniques or an author. I have written a short story in a published mythology at one point. I worked with a bunch of indie authors who are, seeking to publish their own works, make careers out of it. Um, but it's just that's a lot of um, work, and I think I respect that. I don't know if I could do it. I think that I'm too kind of am called Max of all trades, not Max the author for a reason. Because I also like to write D&D campaigns that never get finished or never get played. I like to play in several of them as well. So I'm not just DM. I like to play as a character, probably more than actually DMing. I like the architecture design of being a DM, but I don't like running the campaigns for people. I think that, but it's really like this. I don't like having too much power to be an author, but I don't like having not enough power to be a DM. It's this weird kind of situation. Um, and so I've been like kind of writing kind of here and there in my free time for years, but I haven't really, um, well, I guess I've been writing for years. I've taken lots of classes, I both in college and through master classes, and just watching people on YouTube. It's one of those things where, like, if you looked at my resume, I'm really not that qualified on the internet. I think there's so many people out there that are way more qualified than I am. But out of the people that I know in real life, I consider myself a knowledgeable source when it comes to writing characters or stories or plots. It's really strange how the internet can kind of, I guess, change your beliefs about yourself. Just seeing all the talented people on the internet and then comparing that to yourself, but then seeing all the people in your life and being like, well, I could probably do this, but maybe like there's just sides of people that I just don't know. So it really gives you this sense of like, I don't know how credible I am to even really talk about Harry Potter, but here I am doing it anyway because why not? Um, Another reason I feel kind of like weird critiquing this is because I'm not really like, or even talking about this, is I'm not an avid reader. I would consider myself not even like a casual reader. Like I like to edit people's like papers, like if they're writing a story and they want my opinions. I love to do that. I love to give feedback. I think that I give a lot of extensive feedback about trying to work with them to find the concept that they're looking for. um, I like the idea of reading. I just like the idea of I just don't do it as a hobby, I guess. I like to do it to help the author more so than I do, or to help my own creative endeavors, as opposed to just watching for fun. I don't. Same with movies, really. Like I don't really watch movies by myself. I only really watch movies with other people. I'd prefer to listen to someone else give me their opinions about the story and get a spark notes summary of it, and just kind of see what the pros are, what the cons are, and how I can really just incorporate that into my own creative endeavors. Um, which I guess is a bit selfish, but whatever. Um, that's I guess it's like that one quote they say, like great artists steal or good artists borrow, great artists steal. It's a very true statement a lot of the time. It's just a hodgepodge of things I like, and things that I've picked from different places, and it makes me wonder really about how creative am I at the same time. But that's just another rabbit hole that I'm going down. Um, what else do I want to talk about? Pretty much the Oh, I guess this is important when we're talking about Harry Potter, is that I actually recently finished the series for the first time. I got through book five. Well, I started from book one, and I got through book five, got through book six, got through book seven, and it was very enjoyable overall. I think that there wasn't a time where I really stopped. Like there was like I would pretty much just I do it through like audiobooks. So like whenever I go grocery shopping or ride in the car, I'd listen to it pretty consistently. And I finished it a couple months ago. So through my audiobook subscription, I've gotten other books, and I'm back at that cycle where I'm like, do I want to keep the subscription because I don't really like reading these other books? I'd like to maybe try, a couple more books just to see, but it's really one of those things that's kind of unique with Harry Potter with me. Like it's one of those few series that I'm like, it's almost like comfort food. Going back to that emotional world building. And so I think this just emotional world building is just something that I'd really like to emulate in my writing one day, and that's why I keep coming back to it. Like I want to figure I'm like Plankton from SpongeBob, and I want to know what the secret Krabby Patty formula is. So I'll constantly just kind of dissect it. I'll try to like figure out like what was her thought process going through this. Like why does it just resonate with so many people? And so I think I really care about that kind of stuff with Harry Potter. When I do read it, I do notice plot holes galore. I do notice some of the criticisms with kind of like the political aspects of it. I don't think I'm oblivious to it. I don't think that I hold J.K. Rowling to a high standard to where I'm like she's untouchable. Um, Pretty much, I think that regarding J.K. Rowling as a person, I don't support her political views. I do like the idea of separating the author's personal beliefs from their creative works. I think that it's really easy to hate people for really just, I want to say minor things about them because it really isn't a minor thing. I guess it's just, I think it's really easy just to hate people in general. Like you find something I feel like we're like tribal in nature. We like look for things in people that we like, and we're like, this person is with me. Look for things we don't like. This person is, against me. And I think that like it can be a bit of a like a toxic mentality sometimes. Not to say that like you on the other end are doing this, but just it's just things that I've noticed where there's all these divisions and all these groupings, and I guess I just want to abstain from that. Um, Once again, I don't support the political views. I just think that it's not really something that I want to, um, I guess, talk about too much or give my 2 cents too much. Um, I think that, you know, especially being like this minor content creator just starting, um, it really does kind of hit me in a new way as well, where like, you know, I feel like it's really mistakes and flaws are documented on the internet and ridiculed forever. So even like giving my opinions about this, I'm trying to be careful with what to say because I don't really want to come off with any strong opinion that could, bite me in the end. And I think that that's really kind of a problem sometimes. And I'm not even famous. I don't do this for a living. It's just something that like really discourages me from being a content creator, and I don't think that it should. I guess like I feel like I just want to have this space where we can be kind of nonchalant and talk about things and just give opinions, and the internet's bound like, I'm bound to find some people who are like you suck, and that's fine, but I guess like especially just trying to imagine this as like a famous person who went from, just I guess like J.K. Rowling's experience of going from this kind of single parent mom who is just trying to support her like family, and then becoming a like billionaire or whatever. I don't know how much she makes, but I reckon she's probably a billionaire at this point. And just going through this kind of like up and down, like rags to riches to this tragedy fall, and it really, I just don't think that I could ever do something that crazy and amazing in my life as to create such a fantastic franchise that was so beloved. And I feel like I don't know if I'd want to, because I feel like I would fall even harder than JK. Not that I have any opinions that I think are controversial that would get me canceled or anything, but just like I don't know, it's just hard for me to imagine. And like it goes back to that return on investment video I made about like I don't know if it's worth all this effort that I've put into, and like being if I were to take what I love in this hobby and like be vulnerable with all these people out there on the internet and in the world, and then just to have that kind of crash and burn, I feel like that would be, probably the worst thing ever. And I think I'm one of those people that always kind of tries to think about. And this is again off topic, but I guess that's why I like this unedited, so you can really just get the raw footage. But um, I'm really I read a lot of like stoicism, um, like letters of a stoic kind of thing. I forget if that's the actual title, but pretty much this like stoicism where one of the ideas is just like figuring out the worst possible like scenario and like is it worth it. And I don't know, I guess it's kind of like paralyzing sometimes. It's probably not the best, but I guess just being cautious sometimes, and like do I really want to invest 10 years or whatever into making this like epic series that's like my magnum opus, and then it just gets canceled within 10 years of me making it, when the intent is like I want this relic to kind of like outlive me, but me watching it sort of fall apart before I die. And I don't know, that would just be very like depressing and demoralizing, I think. So I don't know. It's one of those things where like I feel like we're at a time where like when I was growing up and loving Harry Potter, I think that it was this thing that like if I ever tried to make my own version of it, it would just be a clone, a copy, and people would see that and be like, "Oh, you're a poser." I think that was like a thing back then where it's like, "Oh, you're just copying, you're a copyright poser." And now it's like uncool to like Harry Potter almost. Like it's this weird flip-flop, and I feel like the world could use this palate cleanse to like fall in love with something again, and but like I just don't know if I'm the person to create it. Like I feel like I have the ideas to create it, but I just don't have the drive or the I don't know. Like there's just something that feels almost ugly about trying, that I almost feel like a bit ashamed to really even like um think that way. I don't know, it just feels very like I shouldn't be so unambitious about it, but I think at the end of the day I just really like the idea of keeping my hobbies hobbies and not trying to monetize them. If they end up getting monetized, that's fine, but I think that it's just it would I don't want to be tied down to these hobbies as like a financial stability sort of thing. I think it would ruin the magic of what world building and role playing kind of is for me. Um, so I guess that's my thoughts on that. I guess ultimately we're like 26 minutes in right now. Um, Gotta tie this up sometime, but I don't really have a thesis for this. Um, like I said, I just got from back from vacation. Just wanted to make a video, just have like a casual talk about Harry Potter. I woke up less than an hour ago, which is like usually I wake up early, so it's like 10 a.m. right now, which is like it feels amazing being able to sleep in. But yeah, I just wanted to film these thoughts just for fun. At the end of the day, um, you know, I like the idea of a casual conversation. I don't really know if I want to be a strongly opinionated YouTube channel. Um, Especially if this is forever going on the internet. I think the moral of this is like having some, and it feels really sad to say this, but at least for me, like having a strong opinion about something could get you canceled. And, I just want to stay out of that and just keep it casual. And, which is really weird. And I'm gonna probably do some personality quizzes. Usually, I think of myself as like this logical thinking type rather than this feeling type. This is like a Myers-Briggs reference, but I don't know. I feel like I've been a lot more like feeling and like emotionally like able to talk about like kind of how things make me feel in this YouTube kind of setting. So I think that's really healthy for me, and it's kind of the beauty of being able to do stuff like this in today's day and age. Trying to think a bit positively about you know the benefits of putting videos out on the internet for everyone to see as opposed to the cons. And I don't know. I guess that's kind of it in a not really a nutshell. It in 28 minutes. But thank you very much for listening through all this. If you have, maybe this has made you think about something um, that you didn't previously think about. Hopefully, it wasn't a waste of your time. I tend to like listening to these while I do other things, so hopefully, you're kind of cooking or playing a video game or something while you do this, not just listening to me talk. Because I don't know what I'm really going with that, but yeah, have a good one. Later days.